Mr. Brent Omdahl, Commercial Section Chief of AIT. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. On behalf of Industrial Development Bureau (IDB) of Taiwan, I welcome you all to the Taiwan-USA Open Networking Portfolio and Partnership Seminar. While the world is still fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic, recent events in the global economy have led us to rethink our policies for trade and the economy for the future. Particularly, we see the importance of resilient and agile supply chains, as well as the need for rapid restructuring. As we move towards the post-pandemic era, the dual transformations brought by digitalization and the development of renewable energy also become major drivers for economic recovery. Connectivity technology plays an even more important role as we see 5G network deployment being rolled out everywhere. Having that said, the high capital expenditure for 5G network deployment has always been a pain point for telecom operators. This is also why we see more and more key players in the ecosystem adopting open and disaggregated 5G networks. Open networking is an approach for operators to break through vendor lock-in, where it also encourages multi-vendor combinations for more solution options. With this growing trend, we could also see that white box solutions are gaining more and more traction since they offer greater choice, more flexibility, and more agility for mobile network deployment. With the development of 5G Open RAN in progress, we also see this as an opportunity for telecom operators to begin partnerships with new vendors, such as the vendors from Taiwan. As the home of the largest ICT suppliers in the world, this is where Taiwan's companies can be great assets to global partners in delivering Open RAN solutions. As of today, we also have concrete examples of Taiwan's solution providers partnering up with US telecom operators. Examples as such can be found in the case of MTI with Dish Network for 5G RU procurement, and the case of UV Space with AT&T for disaggregated core routers. As the Taiwan-USA relationship continues to strengthen coupled with manufacturing capabilities of Taiwan's ICT vendors in customization, product diversity, and flexibility, I believe Taiwan's ICT supply chain can be trustworthy partners to our U.S. counterparts in telecommunication. In today's Taiwan-USA Open Networking Portfolio and Partnership Seminar, we are very glad to invite hardware and integrated solution providers in Open RAN from Taiwan, including Pengatron, Weiyin, Lighton, H-Core, UV Space, and Arcadine, to share with us their solution portfolios for transport equipment, small cells, access terminals, and more. We will also hear about their tailor-made solutions for the U.S. market, as well as successful cases and the customer references through today's section. I hope you find that Taiwan's excellent selection of ICT phones can bring more value to the global 5G supply chain. With that, I wish you all a great section. Thank you.
Director General Liu, good to see you again. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon, good evening. 大家好，我是美国在台协会商务组组长欧德瑞。我很高兴看到这么多与武器通讯相关的厂商参加今天的研讨会，一起探讨研究武器 OpenRAN 发展的重要性。So let me just thank E-Tree and IDB for their cooperation and consistent support for our shared US-Taiwan initiatives in the 5G and next generation telecom industry space. We've collaborated on several successful events over the years, and I'm grateful for the partnership we've established. For those American and Taiwan companies in the audience, let me just introduce the U.S. Commercial Service. We're the investment promotion and export promotion arm of the U.S. Department of Commerce. Our mission is to help innovative American companies access new markets around the world, while at the same time attracting high-quality foreign direct investment into the United States. We view strengthening U.S. supply chains as a top priority for our work, and we welcome closer U.S.-Taiwan cooperation on telecommunications. One of our telecommunication goals is to deliver reliable, affordable, high-speed internet to every U.S. household. In support of our goal of strengthening U.S. supply chains, our Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, and Taiwan Minister of Economic Affairs, Wang Meihua, announced jointly in December of 2021 the official launch of the U.S.-Taiwan Technology, Trade, and Investment Collaboration, otherwise known as TTIC. The TTIC platform aims to bolster bilateral trade, investment, and industrial cooperation between the United States and Taiwan, while at the same time strengthening Taiwan's role in critical supply chains in industries such as semiconductors, electric vehicles, clean energy, and of course 5G, which we're here to talk about today. One of our strategic goals as it relates to TTIC and to 5G is to bring together Taiwan telecom hardware suppliers and system integrators together with U.S. software and core network service providers to form a new U.S.-Taiwan joint 5G Open RAN solution that will compete with turnkey solutions that already exist in the market today. This solution could be sold in the United States, in Taiwan, and in other countries around the world. We feel strongly that as the U.S. seeks to modernize its infrastructure, Taiwan's technical capacity in the 5G area will help serve as a solid backing to U.S. companies and will allow Taiwanese companies access to the massive consumer base that exists in the United States. On the consumer side of the equation, the Global Mobile Suppliers Association forecasts that 5G adoption in North America will exceed 50% of mobile subscribers by the year 2025, which is just right around the corner, and that it will account for almost all mobile capital expenditures in North America over the next 5 years. Furthermore, the recently signed Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act allocates $65 billion of investment for broadband infrastructure deployment in the United States. Tomorrow, you'll be hearing more about this bill from our colleague Melissa Edie from the Select USA office in Washington, D.C. I'm pleased to share with you that my team, led by Commercial Officer Clint Brewer and Commercial Specialist Rita Chen, are actively recruiting a Taiwan Next Generation Telecom Technology delegation to the United States in June, where the delegation will make stops in Silicon Valley, Seattle, and at National Harbor, Maryland to attend the 2022 Select USA Investment Summit. We hope that many of our 5G Taiwan companies here today will join us on this important trip. The Select USA Summit is our flagship investment attraction event, and this year attendees will receive briefings from cabinet officials on the latest economic trends and policies. You'll learn about investment opportunities in the United States and have a chance to meet with state and local economic development agencies from all 50 states and virtually all municipalities to help you facilitate your business expansion plans in the United States. If you would like additional information or have any questions, please feel free to contact me or any of my team who are participating, and we'll be happy to put our email addresses in the chat. Finally, we're ready to work with Taiwan companies interested in investing in the United States and partnering with US companies wherever and whenever possible. I have every confidence that the US-Taiwan cooperation today and on an ongoing basis will be successful in our common goal of restructuring global supply chains and expanding bilateral cooperation to the benefit of both of our economies and indeed the global economy. With that goal in mind, I wish us all an excellent event and we look forward to the discussion. 谢谢大家.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to join today. As Tiffany mentioned, I'm here in my capacity as International Director of the Open RAN Policy Coalition. I will share up screen so that you can see, hopefully you can see there some slides. So a little bit of background about the Open RAN Policy Coalition. We were formed coming up on 2 years ago. The group has grown across that time to 60 members from 11 countries. Many of their logos are on here, but not all of them. I probably need to go through and update with a few additional ones. The reason our group was pulled together is to work with governments around the world to promote policies that accelerate Open RAN adoption. Why engage with governments? Why not just work through standard setting bodies and commercial decision making? This is a space that is increasingly of focus for governments around the world, and for good reason. Communications networks are the backbone of so many other services. They are critical infrastructure. If you look at things like cybersecurity, they are typically an area that is regulated, and therefore governments will always have a role to play here. Of course, industry has probably an even greater role to play here in terms of the innovation, the commercial decisions that are made, and so on. But we felt that looking across the landscape of organizations that existed, there were organizations like the ORAN Alliance that do great work in standards development and in some level of testing as well. There was the Telecom Infra Project, which really focuses on the engineering piece of things and does some, again, fantastic work in terms of trials and plug fests and that sort of thing. But there was not a group that was actively engaging governments to help them understand the importance of Open RAN and what it can do for the global ecosystem for telecommunications equipment. So that's kind of where our organization sits within this ecosystem of ORAN focused groups. Our international engagement, we have sat down, so the orange circles you see on here are folks that have attended our events, government officials that have attended events we've put on, and the blue is probably the most relevant, is governments that we've met with and discussed Open RAN in sort of a bilateral setting, and we're well over 30 governments now. I want to say we're in about 35 range, and we're probably closing in on about 65, 70-ish governments that have attended events that we've put on to either raise awareness of what's going on around Open RAN or discuss key issues like the development of testing facilities and the security of Open RAN and all that kind of thing. We also have launched what we call the Track 1.5 dialogue with, which Track 1.5, for those who don't know, basically means a public-private dialogue. So government and industry around the same table, and the governments of the Quad, which is Japan, Australia, India, and the US, asked us recently to launch a Track 1.5 dialogue. So we have very close and ongoing discussions with that set of governments. Common themes, most governments that we have met with have a desire to see greater vendor diversity in the market. As many of you know, it's within sort of 3G and 4G networks, it's a very narrow set of companies that provide the underlying infrastructure. Folks want to see that greater competition and diversity. Director General Liu's remarks at the beginning, I think, echoed what we've heard from many governments in terms of seeing opportunity for domestic champions to emerge. And I think Taiwan would absolutely be high on that list, given expertise in ICT. Desire in general to avoid dominance by any single country. So seeing some level of geographical diversity in there. For many developing economies, seeing an opportunity to address the digital divide, particularly in the COVID era when many of us have been working from home or schooling from home or things like that. It's brought into stark focus the importance of having communications connectivity for everybody across the world. And because Open RAN offers the opportunity to provide lower cost infrastructure and shape architectures to the different realities in terms of fiber infrastructure and things like that, there's a real opportunity to help address that issue. And then often we get the question, what should governments be doing to help bring things along? And that's something I'll get to a little bit further along. I was asked to touch specifically on US operator activity across the major operators in the US. 3 are board members of ours, AT&T, Dish, and Verizon. The ORAN Alliance, that standard setting organization, has 5 major operators as members. And I don't want to look like I'm excluding T-Mobile and US Cellular here. They may be doing additional sort of testing trials and deployments, but I'm less familiar with them. But certainly AT&T, Dish, and Verizon are either in the trial phase or the deployment phase already in terms of Open RAN. Dish is one that is often of particular focus at the moment because they're going to be building out they're a new operator coming into the market, similar to Rakuten in Japan. And they are building out a 5G Open RAN network as we speak. They have a plan to cover 70% of the US population by the middle of next year. Current testing going on in various cities in the US. And most importantly, when we talk about Open RAN, we talk about these multi-vendor architectures where you're pulling lots of different companies under the umbrella, providing that infrastructure and helping to orchestrate them together. And I thought it was important to highlight here the range of partners that Dish is working with on building out that network, including, I've highlighted here, MTI, because obviously being a Taiwanese company, that was particularly exciting to see them in there. But you've also got Nokia from Europe, Rakuten from Japan, as well as Fujitsu from Japan. So we're starting to see and a lot from Israel. So a range of geographies represented within the network infrastructure. Overall, again, I'm probably missing a couple on here. This is a map of global deployments. Green are commercial deployments. Yellow are testing facilities. It's very difficult for us to keep up to date with everything that's going on at the moment, but this should give you a decent representation of the breadth of global deployments that are taking place. We know testing facilities are in development in India and Australia as well. I'd expect those to be operational, at some point this year. So it's an exciting picture. If we went back 2 or 3 years, this map would look nothing like this. So it's been a really fast moving set of developments. Going back to that question of what can governments do to support the acceleration of adoption of Open RAN, we pulled together a high level set of policy tools that governments can leverage that can help to advance adoption. And we broke these out into 3 areas: fiscal, regulatory, and convening. So fiscal, we're looking at both the supply side, where can governments invest to grow the ecosystem of vendors domestically, demand side is, incentives that will help operators to take up adoption. On the regulatory side, as you'd expect, for the most part, what we're talking about is ensuring that there are no regulatory barriers that would intentionally or unintentionally slow down adoption or disincentivize adoption for operators. And then on the convening side, government has a really key role in terms of supporting technical collaboration, putting in place the right policies, and really just signaling that this is something they're supportive of. I think it's something that governments in North America, Asia Pacific have done a very good job of doing over the past year or so, and we encourage more governments to step forward and signal support there. And this is all part of our policy roadmap, which if you go to openranpolicy.org, you can find a copy of it on there. If not, I'm happy to sort of follow up. And then in terms of what we've seen in reality, 4 governments that we've tracked have put forward either incentive packages or investments on the supply side, or establishing testing facilities. I should add India and Australia here now, so I guess we're up to at least 6. It's been really sort of positive to see governments from across different regions of the world start to incentivize, and to the extent that the Taiwanese government or other partners that companies here may be working with are interested in learning more about these or having a discussion with us about the kind of steps that they can take. We're always happy to have that discussion.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Maggie from Communications Industry Development Project Office, delegated by IDB, Ministry of Economic Affairs. Thank you for joining the seminar today, and I'm going to give you a very brief introduction on Taiwan in the 5G and open networking era. The Taiwan government has devoted to a lot of effort to the industrial development, especially for the Ministry of Economic Affairs. We have set a national policy to support the ICT development. For example, we do the industrial promotion in order to help our companies to engage with the global ecosystem partner to provide a better service and solutions so that we can work together to explore more business markets. And we also have the R&D projects, and so that we can enhance the R&D ability for our companies. And take 5G, for example, we have the project to focusing on the chipset, the module, the base station integration, even the private network solutions. And we even conduct a field trial. The reason is that we try to help our company to accumulate the real surface field trial experience so that they can provide to their customers. And this is the comprehensive Taiwan 5G open networking and broadband supply chain. So we have from CPE. The CPE here is including the wireless and wireless solutions, such as the 5G, 4G, Wi-Fi, cable, and DSL, etc., to the small cell, to the transport, and we even step in the core now. And we work very closely with the system integrators and operators here in Taiwan. And 5G in Taiwan is a very important topic for our industry. And we also focusing more on the open networking. So in 2020, with the support from the Ministry of Economic Affairs, also the global ecosystem partners, we have established a carrier-grade 5G open network lab. And in 2021, we also got approved by the TIP, Telecom Infra Project, which is a global organization to promote the open networking to be the first TIP integration lab in Asia. So the logo here are our partner, and there are coming more. And being the first TIP integration lab in Asia, that we focus on testing products and solutions in an end-to-end environment. And we are able to halt the process and validate the product majority and award the badge and ribbons accordingly. In order to recommend and connect the global MMOs, the system integration, and the solution partners to all those qualified suppliers coming from Taiwan. And that is also the reason that we are here to organize this online seminar, because we wanted to build out a platform for our friends from America, the new friends and the old friends, to help you to look for the potential partners from Taiwan. And this is the architecture and timeline of our 5G Open Network Lab. And the solutions and the product can be tested at our lab, including the OpenRAN, the transport, and the Wi-Fi. So basically, we do the interworking, interoperability, performance testing, and field trials. So we work very closely with TIP. We're using the test plan coming from the global operators' requirement. And we also work with the operator in Taiwan, such as the Jang-Hwa Telecom and Taiwan Mobile, so that we can help our company to gain a real reference from the local market. And I'm glad to share with you some companies that already done the test at our lab, including the Pegatron, the Foxconn, the Lance, the QCT, the Alpha Networks, the HTC, and the UFI Space. And definitely we are coming more with all these solutions. And as you know that in today's telecom market, or the enterprise market, the network solution should come with the use case or the king. So our company also work with their partners with the domain knowledge and to integrate with different solutions to conduct the vertical market solutions. And take this smart manufacturing, for example. One of our company, they integrate the AOI, the edge server, and the 5G private network, which is the ORAN solution base, to conduct a smart manufacturing solution in their own server factory. And that is just one of the cases, and you can hear more later. And this slide just comes to my summary of this presentation, that we have a very comprehensive 5G and broadband supply chain. And we also have a global recognized open network lab that we can help you to validate the solution and product when you purchase the solution before. And our company has already accumulated many vertical solutions with the deployment experience. So we're definitely a good partner that you are looking for. And here are the 6 presenting Taiwanese company: Pegatron, Weiying, Lion, H-Core, UFI Space, and Arcadian. And all those companies, the solution are covering from the CPE, the ORAN, RU, CU, DU, and the transport. So I hope you can enjoy all the fruitful presentation later. Thank you.